The following is for entertainment purposes only. We are not financial advisors. We are not responsible for any losses, only the profits. I think one thing we all are always battling with internally and externally is what allocation of what type of SPAC, what sector, and which of the four different we can choose from should we buy? 3, 4 rights? Does anyone even know what a right is? Does anyone? Does anyone want to play warrants or commons? What do you think? I think the thing that's always throwing a curveball here is that the fact that the market likes to change. So SPACs can turn into different beasts at all times. And SPACs will often find yourself thinking these two things more often than expected. No one bought this. There must be something wrong. That's my favorite one to think. When I start thinking that, when I can't find a reason why this stock would not go up, that's when you need to get in. But most people are afraid to get in then. Why? Because it's not cool yet. What do I mean? Other people haven't made it cool yet by making the price go up yet. So people look at it like, well, what is everyone missing? What am I missing? Why not? Think about that. And there's another side. It's already running. It'll dip soon. So the other deal with SPACs is if you wait, it's already running up. And at that point, you might already be too late because it can go from 12 to 13 to 18 over the night. And then the next day, 24. But it'll dip soon and then it keeps going. You can say that about all stocks though. Tesla. People keep waiting for that thing to get back to 100. I don't think it's going to happen. Can SPAC investors be categorized in one category? They are value, as all teams are looking for. Long-term growth with great profits at a steep discount. You notice how like every single SEC it's filed says that. Every single team. We want the best company in the world for cheap with great profits and it's going to grow. Oh yeah? But have you also ever noticed how that never happens? Very, very rarely. Those are those unicorns we talk about, those golden shimmering unicorns. In the end, what's the difference, though? So what's the difference? I mean, if they all claim the same thing and none of them pull out, well, some of them do. Maybe SBE, Switchback Energy, ChargePoint. It's kind of in that realm of unicorns. How many SPACs are actually profiting or even have a product before they run up to a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar company? The thing most people don't realize is SPACs transform into different animals constantly. So if we play SPACs, are we value, growth, momentum, or just a bunch of penny bros? Then we have the commons, units, and warrants to talk about. Got a little dash of everything I think we all can enjoy. So what if we as investors could adapt to the times the market decides we are in? That has to be the key. I think this is the key that no one really thinks about in SPACs. We're always trying to say, okay, are you a common guy, a unit guy, or a warrant guy? It's kind of like, are you a PlayStation or an Xbox guy? Are you a Sega Genesis or a Super Nintendo guy? Which one is it? I was always like, I want them all. I want the Nintendo, the Sony, Sega, the Xbox. I want it all, right? Why pick sides? Maybe you should have a little bit of everything. Realize, though, again, that the market does change. Sometimes you can't make money in SPACs unless you're being a penny bro and only getting super cheap warrants. Sometimes, if you're buying super cheap warrants, you're the one not making any money. The only thing that's actually growing is brand new units from big boys that are coming out, right? Sometimes units just fly 20% within 2 days of being out. Sometimes warrants do. Do commons? I don't know. Commons are, I think, a pretty good middle ground. Regardless, I think it might be safe and a good practice for us to at least spend 10 minutes and just jot down what you would think would be a mild, medium, and a hot sauce for you. What can you adapt to? What can you hold? What are you comfortable with holding? I'm going to name some that I just kind of came up with. You can adjust this however your heart desires or however the market might be in. Because again, you should be adjusting this a little bit. Look at it as a mathematical equation. Pretend you're a robot. Write it down. When the market changes, you should be adjusting those numbers. Super safe SPAC positions. I'd say 80% of units near NAV, near net asset value, and maybe 20% commons near $10-ish, right? Net asset value. Potential gain, let's just say maybe 10 to 30% a year, which for people in SPACs are like, it's terrible. I make that in like a week or a day, man. What are you talking about? I'm going to wait a year. Well, there's a whole nother side of this where you can have a couple different accounts. Y'all heard me talk about how I have a grandpa account, one that I only trade like this. Maybe it's a good idea to have a couple different accounts. Jot it down, figure it out. What are you comfortable with? Could be hard to exit via low volume and interest. That is the problem with these type of plays. If you get into some units before anyone else, before stuff is cool, and you want to unload them because Tesla branches off and starts up a mini Tesla or something, and you're like, I want to go all in on that. Sometimes you might get stuck in some of these units and comms because no one else wants to buy them. Why? Because they're not cool yet. That's a downside to be very, very aware of, especially after hours on some units. Like, dude, I've messed around with them where you put in super low asks, they still are not getting filled. Just be aware of that. How about a moderate risk profile? I'm going to call this one 30% units, 30% commons, again near NAV, 40% warrants. Ooh, getting risky here. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please watch my videos. Should I buy units, commons, or warrants for SPACs? That'll explain it. I have a part 1 and a part 2. Higher risk, we're going to go with 20% commons, possibly over NAV, and just buying hype trains. So this is a play where you're just subscribed to our channel, you wait for a live video to come out or flash news, it's something rad like a rival, and you're just like pushing in. Take 20% of your portfolio that's allocated to SPACs, by the way. You should never be 100% in one huge sector like SPACs, because SPACs do still run at their own animal, right? So sometimes penny stocks are doing good, they're not SPACs, and sometimes SPACs are just doing terrible no matter what. But sometimes SPACs are doing great no matter what. So it's good to not have your 100% portfolio only in SPAC plays. Regardless, you can play it like this. You can be this risky guy and you can wait till momentum in the market starts, or you can start buying these warrants when they're super cheap and not cool. When they're down and no one's buying them, everyone's buying the penny stocks, the big cap stuff, and SPACs are dead, no one likes them. You could just play SPACs the whole time. You gotta be greedy. You gotta get risky. Gambler man and war woman. Wait till the OctoFam puts out a new Patreon message or a live video, then surf it no matter the cost. So you're waiting for a new message to hit. I always hit the Patreon first, give you guys info, and then fire up the live video if it's something I think worth putting our money into. And you can just play that. You can just wait for that to happen, park money, bam, throw it out, see if it rides. The problem with that is a lot of time you get these bot institutional investors, the money market makers, that will spike it up to 12 and then instantly dump it because they all surf it together. 10 to 12, dump it, and it comes back down like 11-ish, and it could bleed out to 10. Your risk reward is still usually pretty darn good on those, but that's still another way to play it. Your potential lessons on this could be priceless on either way. You can lose a lot of money on this. Because if you go in and just buy, let's see, warrants that have tripled in the past 40 minutes, guess what? You could lose 60% of your money pretty easily. Sometimes they'll just dump right back down too. For instance, like if a company comes out, an LOI comes out, and at face value, it's like, oh, electronic vehicle, oh, boom, buy it, right? Some hype sector. But then when people start reading it, they realize like, oh, these aren't actually electronic vehicles. They're fake. Like maybe they're models, or maybe they're not going to have one for 10 years. I don't know. There could be any excuse, but sometimes it takes people like an hour to 4 hours to find like a weird nugget in the warrants where the warrants are like, oh, by the way, because of this LOI, the warrants are going to go to nothing after the deal. You got to pay attention to those things. Just protect yourself. Potential gains on that, yeah, you could end up with $0, or you could end up with like 250%. It's all over the place. Somewhere in between. It's way riskier. I think the balance is the key, though, on this. Depends on the market we're currently in, too. Would chasing momentum work now? What about a month ago? What do you guys think? Do you think chasing momentum stocks right now would work? Or is it too late and we're at the cusp and it's no longer going to be cool starting Monday? What do you think about a month ago? Was anyone around SPACs about a month ago? A lot of people were, but a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are still way new to SPACs. Last month, didn't matter what came out. People were like, I'm going to do nothing. Nothing moved. But right this second, at least last week, any LOI comes out, people are buying it. People are buying stuff that doesn't even have an LOI whatsoever. Stuff is just going up, right? Or should we just stay on the OctoFam's #1 rule, which is if it ain't cheap, I ain't buying it. You could even play this play. You could not care which SPAC you're buying, what team or what sector. If it's cheap, you buy it. You know, you could be the unit guy. You could be the warrant arbitrage guy. I talked about that, how to get free stocks. Think about like NGA. It's a perfect example. One of the biggest hype ones I was trying to hype like 3 months ago or something. I was talking about Northern Genesis. And I was talking to people about getting free warrants out of that. I was telling people to get free warrants. No one was doing it. Why? Because it wasn't cool yet. Oh, it'll take too long. It's not going to go anywhere. What's happened to that now? Before they even have an LOI, that thing is sitting at like $12, $13. And it's probably going to be merging with Line Electric. Just think about that. Get in before it's cool and it's cheap. No matter what, your worst case scenario going to break even. So what kind of market are we in now? And what do you think the best ratio is? Seriously, write it down. I just want everyone to really write it down, make a game plan, a business plan. Keep your ears to the street, though. I mean, when you have places like MSNBC, you've got Bazinga, and their title to their whole morning trading platform here is called It's a SPAC Rally Pre-Market Prep. All of a sudden, SPACs are cool when everyone is talking. MSNBC, Jim Cramer stopped talking about SPACs out. He still doesn't have any idea what he's talking about for the most part, him and his homies. But realizing the market you're in and try to adapt. My best friend since I was, I don't know, what was it, about 17 years ago, in like 2003. We used to actually play drums together. We used to actually do a little bit of karate in the garage. Why am I telling you this? Well, he's actually got his own website where he does some blogging. He actually copied me on what I was writing through here. He heard through the grapevine that I was making this video and he wanted to hurry up and put out his own little blog about it. He did a decent job. Mine's way better, but if you want to take a look at it, come to my website here. Here's a link to it. It goes by Dr. Stephen Brule. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do it. It definitely helps. We also have a Patreon. Be sure and join that if you want the early plays. And if you wouldn't mind spreading this video to your family and friends, any other random websites or social media, it'd be greatly appreciated. Y'all take care. Did you know that we give away free silver? Simply leave a comment on the video, and as long as you're in the continental United States, you can be automatically entered to win. Please friend us on Twitter and StockTwits.